What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about current news in Norway. Because as an American, I never get to see Norwegian news here in the United States from any of our news or media. So today, I'd like to take some time to learn about the current news and events happening in Norway right now. Starting with Norway called in Russia's ambassador. Norway has called in Russia's ambassador? What is this about? So this is wow. So this is Russia's ambassador that they have in communication with Norway. Why did Norway want to talk to them? The Norwegian government summoned Russia's longtime ambassador to Norway to its foreign ministry in Oslo on Tuesday. Norwegian officials wanted what they called a conversation. What does Norway, did something happen that Norway wants to talk to Russia about? After the tragic death of jailed Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny late last week? Okay, so there's some things here I don't know about, that I don't understand. The tragic death of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny. That name sounds a little familiar. Where did he die? How did he die? What was this tragic death? And Norway wants to talk to Russia about it? The ministry said Russian ambassador Temiraz Rameshvili, who's been stationed in Norway since 2016, was called in to hear Norway's position on Navalny's death while being held at a Russian prison camp in Siberia? So there's a Russian... Okay. There's a Russian opposition leader who died in a Russian prison camp in Siberia? Ooh. Was there something like shady or fishy going on there? Because it was like in Russian politics or something? And Norway wants to give their opinion on it? Norway holds Russian authorities fully responsible for it. So responsible for his death, as expressed earlier by Norwegian Foreign Minister Espen Barth Eide. Okay, Norway has expressed deep concern for other political prisoners in Russia and called for their immediate and unconditional release. Are there Norwegians that are prisoners in Russia in danger? Or is this just Norway giving their stance that Russia needs to treat its own people, its own political prisoners, more humanely? Because this Russian prisoner actually died in prison, and it was a politician. Navalny, who was poisoned in 2020 and later arrested after repeatedly challenging Russia's authoritarian leader Vladimir Putin, had spent 308 days in isolation under harsh conditions before he died under circumstances that remain unclear. He had been a threat to Putin until his death. Oh, okay. This is all starting to make sense a little bit more, huh? This was a Russian politician who was challenging Putin, and he disappeared. He went to jail and mysteriously died. Okay, so it's pretty clear what actually happened here. And Norway is basically voicing their opinion over the injustice that has happened. Okay, good for Norway. Okay. And they called in Russia's ambassador to talk about this. So Norway could have their opinion be clear that Russia is obviously doing inhumane things to its prisoners. And okay, wow, Norway getting a little involved there on the international stage. I like it. Okay. What else do we have? Drammen accused of refugee racism. What is this? There's a lot of this interesting stuff, but these are honestly topics I don't know really anything about and I've never heard of. So maybe it's good that I'm learning about it right now. Drammen. Who is Drammen? Last week's vote by the Drammen City Council to only accept refugees from Ukraine has set off charges of discrimination and racism and left at least one local politician in tears. So this is a place in Norway, Drammen, and their city council is accepting refugees from Ukraine. And like, huh. So people are actually twisting this to see the negative side of it. Isn't it really a good thing that they are accepting refugees from Ukraine? Like, that's great. That's amazing. But they only want to accept Ukrainians, not others, which has led to charges of discrimination and racism. It's up to regional authority to decide whether law has been broken. The Drammen, located southwest of Oslo, population of 100,000. 25% who are immigrants to Norway. I didn't know that. I didn't know Drammen had such an immigrant-heavy population. Amazing. Okay. The city was recently asked to take in 340 more refugees, but its conservative coalition government thought that was too many. City administrators recommended 250 should be allowed, but the government agreed to only half of that, and only if the refugees all come from Ukraine. Oh, interesting. Right. Are you allowed to pick and choose where the refugees and immigrants come from? Well, of course you can. Like, it's your city, it's your country. You can decide who you want to let in. Should you let in anybody? I mean, that'd be great in a perfect world. In a perfect world, that'd be wonderful if Norway could accommodate all 340 refugees from all different places. But if, I don't know, if the city decides that it can only handle 250 or 125, only half of that, and it wants to specifically help Ukrainians, it's harmful to other people, but it's not like a bad thing that they want to help Ukrainians in a way, you know, if that makes sense. Like, it's like you have to choose who you're going to help. You can't help everybody, unfortunately. So I don't know. This doesn't make sense to me why people are getting mad. We've taken in far too many immigrants for many years, said John Helheim of the Conservative Progress Party. We have a very high proportion of non-Western immigrants in Drammen. We've taken in many refugees over a long period. We have an integration problem. We think it'll be easier to integrate refugees from Ukraine. Oh, so he thinks it'll be easier to have Ukrainians assimilate into the Norwegian like way of life? Or did they just want to help Ukraine in particular? It sounds like Drammen has been welcoming immigrants and refugees for a long time, and a lot of them. So I don't think like all of the good that Drammen has done should just be tossed out the window just because they're saying they can't handle as many. Sometimes you can only handle what you can handle, unfortunately. This is racism put into the system, an angry representative from the Center Party told Norwegian Broadcasting. In paragraph 6 of Norway's anti-discrimination law, it is clear that ethnicity can't be used as a reason to treat people differently. That's what it is. It is definitely a touchy situation, saying that, okay, we're going to accept immigrants from this place only Ukraine, and no one else. I can see where that can be construed to be racist. I get it. You want to let everyone in. You want to help everyone that you can. So I don't know. This is a very tough. I don't want to comment too much because I certainly don't know the answer. But I think it's great that Drammen is welcoming in any refugees. I think it's great they're helping anybody and helping Ukrainians. I think that's great. So I think they should be celebrated for the good that they're doing and not, not thrown under the bus for only helping what they can. But if that is against the law, then they will have to change that policy if it's breaking the law. I understand that as well. Huh, tricky stuff. Okay, what else do we have? Norway blames Putin for critics' death. Oh, is this like what we were talking about in the first article? Yes, so this is that death in the prison camp. Alexei Navalny. I didn't know about this. I'm actually really, really happy that that was cleared up to me. That I feel like that's definitely something I need to be more aware of. And I think a lot of Americans don't understand this stuff. So that's good. I get it. Russian political opposition to Putin put in jail in like Siberia and died. That's obviously horrible and should be against the law, and it's inhumane, and there's horrible things going on that need to be called out. And I think Norway's doing that, which is great. Support for Ukraine flies high. Okay. It does seem like from a lot of the articles I've seen over the past few weeks and months, Norway is a tremendous supporter of Ukraine, and it's amazing. Norwegians remain firmly behind giving as much support to Ukraine as possible. A solid majority backs Norwegian government programs that offer military and humanitarian aid, while Ukrainians in Norway call for even more. I mean, I think that's absolutely amazing that Norway is so dedicated to helping Ukraine in its conflict with Russia. I think now more than ever, Ukraine seems to need it, as I know things have, I think, been taking a tide for the worse for Ukraine in that area of the world, unfortunately. So thank God for Norway. Anything else here? Statistics last month illustrate public engagement in Ukraine's struggle. So Norwegians are like very, very, very much in favor of offering aid to Ukraine, which is very, very wonderful. Is there anything else here? I don't think so. I think that's pretty much what this article is saying. Very cool, very cool. Good for Norway. Um, Winds of war blow over Norway. Winds of war? War? What are we talking about here? What do we mean? Questions are flying in Norway over an issue that seemed unthinkable 10 years ago. Whether Norway is, or should be, prepared for war on its home turf. Wow. Last week, I know Norway was on like high alert for danger and conflict. And this week again, there's discussions over whether Norway should be prepared for war in Norway. Wow, like from who? From Russia? Because Norway as a country is in a fantastic location. You know, most of Norway is coast. I think that's very advantageous, very safe. And it has just that tiny, tiny little border with Russia. Is that what the concern is? Most agree Norway needs to rapidly rebuild its defense, which lost stature and funding when politicians thought the Cold War was over. Wow, this is getting quite serious. Got a picture here. Wow. Winter. Oh, here we go. This picture is military exercises in northern Norway have taken on new meaning since Russia invaded Ukraine. Norway is under pressure to rebuild its defenses. Yeah, yeah. It does feel like, I mean, this is the second time I'm hearing about this. I'm sure Norwegians would feel more comfortable if more like military spending started happening in Norway. Defenses were built up. It's probably better than being unprepared. As sad as this situation is, it's sad that Norway is talking about like war and war in Norway. That's very sad, scary. Russian President Vladimir Putin shot down hopes for good relations with its neighbors like Norway when he ordered Russia's invasion of Ukraine 2 years ago. Yeah, yeah. So basically, Norway and Russia's relationship is very bad right now. Very, very bad. And I understand. War is raging in Gaza as well, tensions rising with Iran, Yemen. Warnings issued about China. Oh, God. Wow, wow. Um, Norwegian Broadcasting was told it suspects China of using civilian vessels as spy ships in Norwegian waters and engaging in espionage on the Norwegian mainland? What? What? Really? Is this a thing? Is this just a theory? Has this been proven? Is this a theory? China is spying on Norway with ships acting like civilian vessels, and people like in Norway itself acting like civilians? China's embassy in Oslo has denied the allegations. China has an embassy in Norway, wow, claiming that Norwegian intelligence officials are stirring up unnecessary conflicts. So this is China is saying, "Oh, that's just speculation. You don't have any proof." There's no doubt the biggest threat remains Putin. Man, it's crazy because I think I said this last week. Americans have a very, very different viewpoint on all of these conflicts because America is so far away from all of this military conflicts going on in the world. We feel very safe, and yet we give our opinion on everything, even though it affects us indirectly. But all this stuff affects Norway very directly. Norway is right there and bordering Russia. So Norway definitely has a right to talk about and consider all the possibilities of everything that's going on because it affects Norway a lot. Oh, the biggest threat remains Putin and his war with Ukraine, whether it will expand. A third world war may have already started. Read one of many ominous headlines in Norwegian newspapers over the last few weeks. Really? A third world war may have already started. Has that been in Norwegian newspapers? That has not. This is not at all what we say here in the United States. Here in the United States, we're like, oh, whatever. People in Americans are just like, oh, I think that's all going okay. I'm not really sure. I think it's fine. We'll be fine. That's kind of our attitude of like aloofness, of like whatever, like, it'll figure itself out. That's what most Americans think. Where in Norway, it couldn't be more different. Third World War may have started. That's not the headlines here in America. Oh my God. Oh, wow, this is from my American point of view, this is pretty shocking to read. But I think it's good. I think it's good for me to be soaking in this viewpoint, the Norwegian viewpoint. It's very helpful. Anything else here? It was Sweden's defense chief that made the biggest impression on Norwegians and their politicians when he told fellow Swedes last month, "We must understand how serious this situation really is, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and that we, down to the individual level, must mentally prepare ourselves." He urged Sweden as well, to prepare for real military danger. Shock on household supplies, even. Wow. Wow. I did not know it was getting this serious. After this, coming not long after sightings of Russian spy satellites in the skies over northern Norway and Svalbard during Christmas. Russian spy satellites. I haven't heard of that. There's a lot of things here I've not heard about. Wow. So this has sparked debate over Norway's national defense preparedness for war. Holy cow. Wow. Wow. Here's an exercise shooting missiles. This is so much more serious than I realized. And I think that's literally because I am an American here in America. And we just don't talk about this in the news. I think they try to make us seem very safe, like it's not as big a deal. And it's a huge deal. That's what I'm seeing here. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Let's take a look at one more article here. Something a little lighter. World's longest distance drone delivery service for shopping in Norway. Even more exclusive. Norway has the longest drone delivery service now. Delivery services for locals and tourists in Norwegian ski resort town of Lillehammer got more exclusive. Oh, this is in a small part of Norway. There's drones. You can order deliveries through drones in this part of Norway. You can order about 1.5 kilograms of goods, medicine, groceries, meals from restaurants. They can expect a delivery of 24 minutes from a drone. Man, no way. The future is here, and it is in Norway. That is awesome. I guess some parts of Norway this would be very very helpful because it's difficult to get to some parts of Norway. It can be very snowy or very cold or mountainous. Wow. Literally drones delivering your packages and meals. Oh my gosh. Starting in Norway. That's amazing. That's just a little something I thought looked cool and wanted to look at. But I think that is the news for today. Oh my god. A lot of very serious news, actually. Very serious. Not what I was expecting. I'm sad to say. But I'm also glad that I am learning about all this and staying. I feel like I'm much more in touch with what's going on in Norway and that part of the world. Much more in touch than I would have been just from what I'm hearing here in America. So I enjoyed this for that reason. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of this news in Norway. That'd be amazing. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Norway and Norwegian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.